welcome to another session of weekly analysis of current events. So today we'll start off with the geography area first. The first topic for discussion is seismicity study of Arunachal Himalaya. This was in news because recently there was a study by Wadia Institute of Himalayan Geology. They said that the exploration of elastic properties of rocks and seismicity in Arunachal Himalaya is revealing that the area is generating moderate earthquake at two different crustal depths. Okay, so we'll move on to further findings of the institute. So low magnitude earthquakes are concentrated at 1 to 15 kilometer depth, whereas a slightly higher than 4 magnitude earthquakes are mostly visible in 25 kilometer depths. So that is what they found out. So the low magnitude earthquake can be seen in shorter depths, and the high magnitude earthquake can be found in higher depths. Okay, and the intermediate depth is devoid of seismicity, and it coincides with a zone of partial melts, or what you say, fluid. Extremely high Poisson's ratio was also obtained in the higher parts of Lohit Valley. It indicates that the presence of fluid or partial metal is there at the crustal depths. So we'll learn what is Poisson's ratio. So it is a measure of the Poisson's effect that describes expansion or contraction of a material in direction perpendicular to the direction of loading. Okay, so you compare the ratio between the expansion and contraction of a material in two directions, in the direction perpendicular to the direction of loading. Okay, so high Poisson's ratio denotes that the material exhibits large elastic deformation and even when exposed to small amount of strain. So you can actually say that in an area, if the Poisson's ratio is higher, then even with a small strain, the deformation it produces will be larger. The next topic from geography area is Hurricane Hannah. So recently, Hurricane Hannah has made landfall. Landfall means the point at which a hurricane hits the land. That is, they made a landfall in Texas with life-threatening storm surge and strong winds. So it has reached the wind speeds of up to 90 meter per hour, and it is expected to produce heavy rains across the portions of southern Texas as well as in northeastern Mexico. So this will actually result in flash flooding and isolated moderate river flooding as well. Okay, so it can be categorized as category 1 storm on Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, that is SSHWS category 1. So this year an above normal hurricane season is expected in US. Okay, so we'll see what is this particular wind scale. Before coming to that, I'll tell you what a hurricane is. It is a tropical cyclone that occurs in Atlantic Ocean as well as in northeastern Pacific Ocean, and they are formed over the warm ocean waters in near the equator. Okay, so the hurricanes typically form between the 5 degrees latitude to 15 degree latitude to the north and south of the equator. Fine. So Saffir-Simpson hurricane wind scale, it is a rating from 1 to 5 on the hurricane's sustained wind speed. So the scale estimates the potential property damage. Now we'll move on to the polity session. So the first topic is Maratha quota. So this is in news because Supreme Court is set to commence the final hearing of the special leave petition against the Maratha reservation in Maharashtra. So this will be done through a video conferencing. We'll see who is Maratha. It is a politically dominant community in Maharashtra. It comprises mainly of peasants and landowners, and they are actually the 1/3 of the population of the state. Majority of the chief ministers of the state have been from this community since the formation of the state. That was in 1960. So Marathas are most likely, Maratha speaking, but not all Marathi speaking people belong to Maratha community. Okay, so they are mostly Maratha speaking people. Historically, they have been identified as a warrior caste with large land holdings. Okay, so the special leave petitions challenged the Bombay High Court decision, which upheld the constitutional validity of Maratha quota under the state's Socially and Educationally Backward Classes Act of 2018. So this particular act, SCBC Act, provides for the reservation of seats for admission in the educational institution in the state and for reservation of post for appointments in public services and posts under the state. So Maharashtra is one of the few states which have more than 50% reservation. We know that Tamil Nadu, Haryana and Telangana also they exceeds the reservation cap. That Indrasani case 1992 ruled that the total reservation for backward classes cannot go beyond 50% mark. So this Tamil Nadu, Haryana and Telangana, now also Maharashtra is beyond this particular 50% mark. The next topic for discussion is parliamentary versus presidential form of government. This is a news because it has been suggested that India should adopt presidential form of government instead of parliamentary system of democracy inherited from British. So we will discuss what is parliamentary form, what is presidential form, how is it beneficial, how is it not beneficial. So we know that in parliamentary system of government there are two executives. There is a nominal executive, that is head of the state, that is president, while the real executive is the prime minister, who is the head of the government. In such a system, the role of president or the monarch is primarily ceremonial, and the prime minister along with cabinet wields the effective power. That means in essence there will be power with the prime minister of the country. Countries with such a system includes Germany, Italy, Japan, UK and Portugal. The Constitution of India provides for a parliamentary form of government both at centre and in states. Articles 74 and 75 deal with parliamentary system of government at union level, and Articles 163 and 164 contain provisions with regards to the states. Executive is also responsible to legislature for its policies and acts, and this is a current form of government we are having. But when we compare it with the presidential system of government, there is only one executive, and in this system president is both the head of the state as well as head of the government. This system is followed by USA, South Korea, etc. So the executive is not responsible for the legislature for its policies and acts, and it is constitutionally independent of the legislature in respect of its term of office. Now we'll see why there is so much of votes against parliamentary system. Parliamentary system has created the unqualified legislators who have sought election only in order to wield the executive power. It limits the executive post to those who are electable rather than to people who are able. Prime Minister cannot appoint a cabinet of his choice. He has to cater the wishes of political leaders of several parties. Most of the laws are drafted by executive, and parliamentary input into their formulation and passage is minimal. And it has been seen that the ruling party issues a whip to its members in order to ensure the unimpeded passage of a bill. So, this whip attracts disqualification. That is why the MPs have to blindly follow the whip. So, the parliamentary system does not permit the existence of a legislature that has been distinct from the executive. So it has forced the governments to concentrate less on the governing rather than on staying in the office and doing the coalitions. Okay, so it puts insurance on the defections and horse trading, and the Anti-Defection Act of 1985 that has failed to cure the problem. Because the MLAs resign to topple a government while promising them offices when they win the subsequent by-election. That is what is happening here now. So it has distorted the voting preferences of an electorate that knows which individual it wants to vote for, not necessarily from the same party he belongs to. Understanding it. Now, what is the arguments that are in favor of the presidential election? Why we are saying that presidential election is important? Because it establishes a stable executive which does not depend upon the fluctuating will of the legislature, especially in the case of coalition governments. A system of directly elected chief executive at all levels, like the panchayat chiefs, the town mayors, the chief ministers, or the governors, and a national president elected for a fixed term of office. So he will be invulnerable to the whims and fancies of the legislative, and with clear defined authority in their respective domains, whatever is assigned to them. So this would permit India to deal more efficiently with the critical economic and social challenges. So the cabinet post would not be eliminated. The cabinet post will not be limited to those who are electable. Rather, it will be belonging to people who are able. President can appoint anyone as secretaries. Okay, like whatever we say, the ministers, so equivalent to minister, he can appoint anyone as his secretary. So it establishes the presidency and legislature as two parallel structures. So this allows each structure to monitor and check the other, and it will prevent the abuse of power. At the end of a fixed period of time, the public would be able to judge the individual's performance rather than on political skill at keeping a government in the office. So further, the Indian voter will be able to vote directly for the individual who she or he wants to be chosen as head, rather than the majority of members of parliament and the legislative assembly. Now, even though presidential form is pushed forward, there are arguments against the form also. Like, a weakness of the system is mainly the failure to ensure the cooperation between the lawmakers and administrators. Frequent conflicts will be there between the legislature and the executive. That may lead to deadlock as well. So a presidential system, it centralizes the power into one individual, unlike the parliamentary system, where the prime minister is the first among equals. Okay, so the surrender to the authority of one person, especially in a country like India, will be very dangerous for the democracy. So if the legislature is dominated by the same party to which the president belongs, he may prevent any move from the legislature. Now we'll see why the parliamentary system which we are following right now is beneficiary. Because we have a diverse country and a number of parties from different states that we have, India needs a diverse cabinet. That is only the way to actually aspire or fulfill the needs of people. Hence, the parliamentary system ensures the regional representation by selecting candidates from different parts of the country. And it is also a part of basic structure of the constitution. So what happens if you actually replace parliamentary system? It is actually touching the basic structure of the constitution. And the executive is responsible to legislative. Okay, and the executive is also a part of legislature, and generally the majority of legislators support the government, and it is easier to pass laws. Okay, so this is all what we are suggesting in favor of parliamentary system. And one more important thing is that it is an old system and gives new ideas with its experience in democratic setup. So we have inherited it from British, so we know how it works. That is the most important thing. The next topic is contempt of court. This is a news because the Supreme Court of India suo motu initiated the proceedings for criminal contempt of court against a lawyer activist Prashant Bhushan for his tweet criticizing the current Chief Justice of India and the role of some Chief Justice of India in the last 6 years. So, I'm not saying what the case is, we are only saying the constitutional provisions. So, we'll see what are the constitutional provisions regarding the contempt of court. Article 129 grants the Supreme Court the power to punish for contempt of court itself. Article 142 Clause 2 enables Supreme Court to investigate and punish any person for its contempt. Article 215 grants every High Court the power to punish the contempt of court itself. So Article 129 and 142 belongs to Supreme Court. Article 215 High Court. Contempt of Court Courts Act of 1971. Contempt, according to that particular act, contempt refers to offence of showing disrespect to dignity of authority of a court. So the act actually divides the contempt into civil contempt and criminal contempt. Civil contempt means it is willful disobedience to any judgment, decree or discretion, order or writ, or the processes of a court, or a willful breach of an undertaking given to the court. Criminal contempt means it is any act which may result in scandalizing the court by lowering its authority. Okay, so these are the difference between the two courts, and it can usually seen the criminal court contempt can be usually seen when you are purposefully scandalizing the court, and or you can say another example, interference in the course of judicial performance, or an obstruction in the administration of the justice. All three of them can be said as criminal contempt only. Okay, so it's not only scandalizing, it can be the other things as well. Now, Contempt of Courts Act of 1971, it was amended in 2006, right? So now it includes the defense of truth under section 13 of the original jurisdiction. So implying that the court must permit justification by truth as a valid defense if it is satisfied that it is in the public interest. So maybe in Prashant Bhushan case this can be applied. Now coming to the governance portion, the first topic is electronic manufacturing in India. So recently Government of India actually unveiled 3 schemes which with an outlay of around 48,000 crore to promote electronic manufacturing in our country. So the 3 schemes are, the first one is Production Linked Incentive Scheme, PLI scheme. The second one is Scheme for Promotion of Manufacturing of Electronics Components and Semiconductors, SPEC scheme. The third one is Modified Electronic Manufacturing Clusters, EMC 2.0 schemes. So India, when considering the electronic sector, is tremendously growing, and the demand expected is to cross actually 400 billion USD by 2024. The domestic production is also grown, and it is around 29 billion USD. Okay, and most of this production takes place in the final assembly units. That's the last mile industries that is located in India, and focusing on them would help develop deep backward and forward linkages, and thus it will be causing a high mass industrialization. Okay, and this was an idea actually propounded by an economist called Albert O. Hirschman. And this was mentioned in his book, or the theory Unbalanced Growth. You can actually refer to more points on the electronic manufacturing in the country from the PDF available. And this can also help in actually countering China, because China is a manufacturing hub. Okay, the next topic is a very important topic. It is the National Education Policy 2020. This is in news, why you all know, because the Union Cabinet has approved the new National Education Policy 2020. The aim is to introduce several changes in Indian education system from school to the college level. So we'll see the school level and the college level separately. So we'll see the school education. We'll discuss this very, elaborately, discussing all the points, because it's very important. So in school education, universalization of education from preschool to the secondary level with 100% gross enrollment ratio in school education by 2030. To bring about 2 crore out of school children back into the mainstream through open schooling system. So open schooling system will be introduced. So currently the system is 10+2 system, that will be replaced by 5+3+3+4 curricular structure. that is corresponding from 3 to 8, that will be in the 5, and then 8 to 11, that is 3, and 11 to 14, 3 again, and 14 to 18 years of age in 4 curriculum structure. So it will be clubbed now. The 8th standard, 9th standard, the 9th standard, 10th standard, 11th and 12th will be together called of as like curricular structure number 4. Okay, so it will be bring the uncovered age group of 3 to 6 years under the school curriculum, which has been recognized globally as the crucial age or the crucial stage for the development of mental faculties of a child. It will also have 12 years of schooling with 3 years of Anganwadi or preschooling. Okay, class 10th and 12th board examination will be made easier to test core competencies rather than memorized facts, with all the students allowed to take that exam twice. Okay, and the school governance is set to change with a new accreditation framework and an independent authority to regulate both the public and private schools. The emphasis will be on the foundational literacy and numeracy, and there will be no rigid separation between academic streams, extracurricular and vocational streams in school, because everything should be mixed from now on. Vocational education will be started from class 6, and this will come with the internships as well. Okay, and teaching up to at least grade 5 to be in mother tongue or in regional language. So no language will be imposed on any student. Like we will not impose them to study English or Hindi or any other language which he is not exposed to. Assessment reforms with 360-degree holistic progress card, tracking student progress for achieving learning outcomes. Okay, and a new and comprehensive national curriculum framework for teacher education 2021 will be formulated by National Council for Teacher Education, that is NCTE, in consultation with NCERT. And by 2020, the minimum degree qualification for teaching will be a 4-year integrated B.Ed degree. Okay, and coming to the higher education, again, gross enrollment ratio in higher education to be raised to 50% by 2035, and also 3.5 crore seat to be added in higher education. The current gross enrollment ratio is 26.3, so we have to increase it to 50% by 2035. Holistic undergraduate education with a flexible curriculum can be of 3 to 4 years with multiple exit options also, and appropriate certification will be given within this particular period. MPhil courses will be discontinued, and all the courses at the undergraduate, postgraduate and PH level will now be interdisciplinary. And academic bank of credits is to be established to facilitate transfer of credits. That is also a new thing. So multidisciplinary education and research university, that is MERUs, will be created in the same level like IITs, IIMs, and they will be like models of best multidisciplinary education of global standards in country. Now we only have IIMs and IIT with global standards, right? National Research Foundation will be created as an apex body for fostering a strong research culture and building research capacity across the higher education. And here Higher Education Commission of India, HECI, will be set up as a single umbrella body for entire higher education. Okay, so this will actually exclude medical education and legal education. Public and private higher educations will be governed by the same set of norms of regulation, accreditation and academic standards. Okay, and this HECI will be having 4 independent verticals. One will be National Education Higher Education Regulatory Council, for that is for regulation. Then we will have General Education Council for standard setting. Then there is Higher Education Grants Council. Then there is National Accreditation Council for accreditation. Okay, these are the 4 verticals coming under HECI. Fine. Now we'll move on to international relations. The first topic is collaboration with Israel in defense sector under FDI. So India has collaborated with Israeli defense companies under the new liberalized foreign direct investment regime in defense manufacturing. Okay, so talking about the news, the defense ministry have given this emergency power to armed forces to procure weapon system up to 300 crores on an urgent basis. So this will be without any clearances to cut short the procurement cycle, because it's an emergency thing to do. Okay, and the army has decided to actually order launchers, spike anti-tank guided missile, and additional Heron unmanned aerial vehicles from Israel through a emergency procurement route. So the defense technologies imported by India have a long list, that is especially with Israel. So we'll study what all defense technologies that India have imported from Israel. So the first thing is unmanned aerial vehicles. We have actually brought three unmanned aerial vehicles, three types of unmanned aerial vehicles, that is Searcher. Searcher is an anti-missile tactical UAV for surveillance. Okay, and it has artillery adjustment and damage assessment too. Then we have Hermes 900. So that was in December 2018, I think. Adani Defense and Elbit Systems inaugurated this particular venture that was between India and Israel. So this is Hermes 900 between India and Israel. Then we have Heron. Heron is a medium altitude long endurance UAV, and it also have many strategic actions to perform. So we have three: Searcher, Hermes and Heron. Now talking about air defense system, we have bought Barak. Barak is surface to air missile that can be deployed as a long range air defense interceptor, and in India the version is called as Barak 8, that is especially for the naval vessels. Okay, so we have air defense system Barak, we have UAV Searcher, Hermes 900 and Heron. We have air defense system Barak from Israel. Now talking about missiles, another thing is Spike and Crystal Mace. Spike is a fourth generation anti-tank missile. Crystal Mace is an Indian variant of air to surface missile, that is Poppy of Israel. That the Indian version of Poppy is Crystal Mace. So two missiles, Spike and Crystal Mace. Now we have sensors, that is Search, Track and Guidance Radar STGR, and Falcon. Falcon is also a sensor. Okay, airborne warning sensor. The next topic is Russia accused of testing anti-satellite weapon. So recently USA and UK have been accusing Russia of testing an anti-satellite weapon. So USA is saying that the test of Russia, it consists of Cosmos 2543, that they are injecting it into the orbit. Okay, so Cosmos 2543, it operated in abnormally close to US government's satellite in low Earth orbits. So that is why they are claiming this. And the USA will discuss the issue during the talks for START treaty, that is New Strategic Arms Reduction Treaty. START. Fine. So we'll see what is anti-satellite and the capability. So right now only 4 countries, Russia, USA, China and India, have demonstrated anti-satellite capability. India's anti-satellite capability is called as Mission Shakti. We have this anti-satellite system, that is Mission Shakti, which is actually the 4th country to acquire the capability. So ASAT system, it is a missile based system only. It is to attack the moving satellites, and it actually successfully destroyed a live satellite in the low Earth orbit. The Mission Shakti have destroyed a live satellite in low Earth orbit. So DRDO have developed this system for us. And a related topic is international treaty regarding outer space. This is very important because when we think of doing something in the outer space, we have to think that there is a treaty for it. So we have many treaties based on this. The first one is UN Outer Space Treaty 1967. It prohibits the weapons of mass destruction in outer space. and not the ordinary weapons. So India have ratified it in 1982. Then we have UN Transparency and Confidence Building Measure, TCBMs. It also includes registering space object with UN register before launching it. Then we have Inter-Agency Space Debris Coordination Committee, IADC. So it is an international governmental forum for coordination of activities related to space debris, which is natural debris as well as man-made debris in the space. And one more thing you note here, that India has supported the UN resolution on no first placement of weapons in outer space. So India is cooperating with it. Now we'll see India-UK Free Trade Agreement. So recently India and UK has affirmed their shared commitment towards free trade agreement during the 14th virtual Joint Economic and Trade Committee meeting. So we'll just see the trade relations between India and UK. So India has a strong historical tie with UK, and now it is one of the India's most important trading partners. So it is actually a very significant partner, as it can increase the FDI in our country. So currently they are also one of the major FDI investor in India after Mauritius and Singapore. Similarly, UK is one of the largest investor in India among the G20 countries also. Okay, and the bilateral trade between the two countries is 15.5 billion USD in 2020. Okay, why is it important right now is because Brexit happened. So UK has been pushing India for a bilateral trade agreement because it has voted out from European Union. But India has decided to resist all this effort, as India is saying that the Brexit process should complete first, and we should get a complete picture after what happens after Brexit. And India has to actually understand how much of a special and preferential access UK will get in the European market. Only after that India can decide its own position. So there are talks also, because UK can be a beneficial partner. And another thing here is exit from RCEP. India opted out from RCEP, that's a Regional Comprehensive Economic Partnership deal. So there is a new renewed focus on trade deals with US, European Union and UK. It can be a market for India in future. And there is another important thing, that is UK is a strategic partner. It is a permanent member of UNSC and it is a strategic partner of India. So strengthening trade ties will bring India closer to UK. And there is also another thing called as a review of trades, because India could seek a review of trading agreements, including renegotiating of the tariffs on some items. Okay, because they have been tightening many of our products before, so we can actually renegotiate. Fine. The next topic is RBI signs currency swap for Sri Lanka. So India and Sri Lanka has a virtual meeting during this COVID pandemic situation, and it was attempted by the officials from the Ministry of External Affairs, Ministry of Finance and the representatives of Sri Lankan government and the Exim Bank, Export-Import Bank. So they discussed about currency swap. So what is currency swap? It is actually used to obtain foreign currency loans at a better interest rate than it could be obtained by borrowing directly in a foreign market. So if you have currency swaps, you can get loans, foreign currency loans at a better interest rate. So the central banks and the governments, they engage in currency swap with the foreign counterparts. Why? In order to meet the short-term foreign exchange liquidity. Okay, there may be liquidity requirements for a very short term. So if you have currency swap, this can be met. And it also ensures adequate foreign currency to avoid the balance of payment issue. Okay, so we'll see what the news is about actually. So the Reserve Bank of India have agreed to swap or currency swap around 400 million US dollars for Sri Lanka till November 2022 to boost the foreign reserves and ensure the financial stability of that country. So the government and the industry representative from both the countries also participated on a webinar. and it is based on deepening economic collaboration between India and Sri Lanka, and it is organized by FICCI. What is FICCI? It's a Federation of Indian Chambers of Commerce and Industries, right? With they also associated other institute with this webinar. Sri Lanka highlighted that the non-tariff barriers in the receiving countries create difficulties in the market trade or the market access. So, to resolve this, the FICCI will collaborate with the Sri Lankan mission in order to bring it down and boost the exports of spices. Okay, because it's mainly concentrates on Indian market. Now, coming to the environment, the first topic is pied cuckoo. So recently the Wildlife Institute of India have decided to study the migration of pied cuckoo bird. It is also called as Jacobean cuckoo or chatak. It will be doing this particular survey by tagging the bird with satellite transmitters. So the study will be conducted along with Indian Institute of Remote Sensing (IIRS) and the Department of Biotechnology. So this will be the first study in the country that seeks to actually observe the migratory routes of the pied cuckoo. So it will get the data and information of climate change and monsoon when we do this. And because pied cuckoo is associated more with monsoon in India. So it will be a project coming under Indian Bioresource Information Network. This will be funded by Government of India by the Department of Biotechnology. And talking about pied cuckoo, it's a bird with it has a fancy crest on the head. It is black and white in color, and it is mainly found in Africa and Asia. So there are two types of pied cuckoo, one in the central and the northern part of India, and one you can find in the Himalayan foothills, and they are coming from Africa. So pied cuckoo are also found in southern India, but they are not resident birds. Okay, sorry, in the South India they are resident birds, not the migratory birds. In the Himalayan foothill and all, they are migratory. And IUCN status is least concern. Fine. The next topic is Global Tiger Day. So the Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change has released a detailed status of tigers, co-predators and prey in India report, and this was released on Global Tiger Day, which is 29th July. So in the report it says that around 2,967 tigers are there in India, and it is actually obtained because of the St. Petersburg Declaration of doubling tiger population by 2022. And during the same day, they decided to celebrate 29th July as Global Tiger Day across the world. So 2018 census, that because the tiger census happen every 4 years, right? So the last census was happening in 2018. And according to that 2018 census, we have a Guinness record for being the largest camera trap wildlife survey country. Okay, so the largest continuous tiger population in the world of about 724 tigers were found in Western Ghats. So I told you there is a stretch of tigers in the previous session, right? So it is Nagarhole, Bandipur, Wayanad, Mudumalai, Satyamangalam, Biligiri Ranganatha Swami temple block. So that is one single stretch. And Madhya Pradesh has the highest number of tigers, that is 526. It is followed by Karnataka 524 and Uttarakhand 442. So out of 50 tiger reserves in the country, 3 reserves, that is Mizoram's Dampa Tiger Reserve, Bengal's Baksa Tiger Reserve and Jharkhand's Palamahu Tiger Reserve have no tigers at all. It's like completely gone. And the Corbett Tiger Reserve had the largest population of tiger, around 230. It's actually 231 tigers in 2018. And India's Project Tiger, it was launched in 1973. That you already know. And in beginning it was only 9 tiger reserves. Okay, so Northeast has suffered losses in the population as well, because the tiger status have tremendously decreased in Northeast, and in Chhattisgarh, Jharkhand, Odisha also it is decreasing. Okay, the next topic is Kurma app. It is a mobile-based application. It is aimed at turtle conservation, and it was launched on 23rd May on the World Turtle Day. So it is developed by the International Turtle Conservation Action Network (ITCAN) in collaboration with the Turtle Survival Alliance. The Indian version, okay, the Indian Turtle Surveillance Alliance and the World Conservation Society of India. Okay, now talking about the Turtle Survival Alliance, it was formed in 2001 as a partner of IUCN for the captive management and sustainability of the freshwater turtles and tortoise. Okay, so this was because there was a tremendous decrease in the Asian turtle population, because it was actually being captured and sent to Chinese market. That a situation was formed at that particular time, and that situation is called as Asian turtle crisis. Okay, so this organization was formed in order to overcome this Asian turtle crisis. Fine. Next topic is from Science and Technology. International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor Assembly, ITER assembly. So ITER actually celebrated the start of assembly of this tokamak of France. Okay, tokamak at France. Fine. So we'll discuss about it, then you will understand. So I'll first tell you what we'll talk about ITER first. That is International Thermonuclear Experimental Reactor. So this is a collaboration of 35 countries, and it was launched in France. It is located in France. So this particular collaboration is to build the world's largest tokamak to prove the feasibility of fusion as a large scale and carbon free source of energy. So what is tokamak? It is a machine. Okay, tokamak is a experimental machine. It is designed to harness the energy of fusion. So inside a tokamak, the energy produced through the fusion of atom is absorbed as heat in the walls of the vessels. So like a conventional plant, a fusion power plant uses this heat to produce the steam, and it will be used to rotate the turbine and the generators. Okay, and this project is based on fusion, which is also an energy source from sun and stars. So every fusion reaction in the sun, in which two hydrogen atoms fuse into one helium atom, releases two neutrinos. That is the basis of this particular tokamak. So ITER will be the first fusion device to maintain fusion for long periods of time, and also to test the integrated technologies, materials, and whatever necessary is there in the production of fusion based electricity. Okay, so it has around 35 countries, I told you. So this is located in France. Now they are going to inaugurate it, or they are going to celebrate it. Okay, the next topic is from internal security, and it is induction of French Rafale aircraft in IAF, Indian Air Force. Okay, so there was 5 new Rafale aviation compact aircraft which reached in Ambala Air Base in Haryana. So it was introduced in 2001. So Rafale is a French twin-engine and multi-role fighter aircraft, and it was designed and built by Dassault Aviation by the French. Okay, and it's a French company, and India has inked around 59,000 crore deal in 2016 to procure 35 Rafale jets. That is from Dassault Aviation. And it is actually a procurement under medium multi-role compact aircraft. Okay, and this is for Indian Air Force. So MMRCA deal was stalled due to disagreement over production in India. So it will have an air supremacy actually, because it is equipped with a wide range of weapons. So it will be actually able to perform air supremacy interdiction, that is disrupting, and observation, ground support, and also in-depth strike and nuclear deterrence missions as well. Okay, and it has a wide range of weapons also. Meteor missile is there, Scalp cruise missile is there, Mica weapon system is there. Okay, so Meteor is basically a next generation beyond visual range air to air missile, and it is for air to air compact, that is there in Rafale. And Meteor missile can actually target to a distance of again 150 kilometer. Scalp cruise missile, it can hit a target which is 300 kilometer away. And Mica missile system, it is again air to air missile system, and it is for short range to long range, can act up to 100 kilometer. Okay, that is also there. It is basically a radar seeker. Fine. So that's all for today's session. I hope you enjoyed it, and if you have any doubts, please feel free to express it in the comment section. And also please read the PDF material which is attached to this particular video to have further information about the topics we discussed today. Thank you.